Welcome on board, chosen one. Step inside and close the door behind you, because we're not doing that polite, soft-spoken nonsense today. We're starting with the truth they never wanted you to hear, and honestly, it's hilarious how nervous they get the second your real energy walks into the room. Watch them twitch. Watch them swallow hard. Watch them pretend they're not scared while their whole soul is glitching. Cute, right? Look who finally stopped pretending. Look who finally couldn't hold the mask anymore. The universe must be giggling right now, because the moment you revealed your other half, their jaw didn't just drop. It hit the floor like a cheap phone screen. They thought they knew you. They thought you were safe. They thought you were a little background character in their story. Sick people, honestly. They should have held a meeting before embarrassing themselves like that. Press the like button and subscribe to pay this message back. Anyway, back to the funniest moment of their lives. The moment you stopped performing softness for their fragile little egos. The moment you stopped shrinking, smoothing your edges, and ironing your intensity just to avoid making them feel irrelevant. The moment you finally said, "Fine, you want to see the real me? Try not to faint." And, oh, chosen one, the silence that followed? Legendary. That wasn't normal silence. That was the silence after a storm tears a landscape apart. You should have seen them behind closed doors, whispering, pacing, losing sleep, pretending they're unbothered, while their minds replay that moment you revealed the version of yourself they never thought existed. The version they could never handle. The version that doesn't break, doesn't fold, doesn't play nice. Their whole act fell apart in real time, and nothing exposes someone's weakness faster than watching them panic over your strength. Thank you for being part of this mission, chosen one. Hit like and subscribe so this voice gets louder and the universe keeps sending this message to the people who need it. Now breathe. This next part might sting them a little more. See, they spent so long trying to box you in, trying to tame your fire, trying to treat you like some harmless accessory in their boring little lives. They were obsessed with controlling the narrative because they knew the second you showed your full self, they'd lose their power. And that's exactly what happened. Their whole illusion collapsed the moment your other half stepped into the light. The one you kept hidden. The one that remembers every slight. The one that forgives nothing. The one that doesn't play by their cheap rules. It wasn't even dramatic. You didn't announce it. You didn't warn them. You just stopped pretending. You let your real tone slip. Your real stare. Your real presence. And in that second, they saw it, the part of you that could break their entire strategy with a single look. The you that doesn't even need to raise a voice to end a situation. The you that moves like a walking consequence. They said you were too quiet. They said you were too patient. They said you were too calm. But what they conveniently forgot is this. Predators aren't loud until it's time to strike. You weren't calm because you were weak. You were calm because you were studying everything, cataloging every fake compliment, every manipulative word, every moment they thought they got away with slipping that blade between your ribs, and you waited, so politely, so quietly, so menacingly calm. Then life delivered the final slap. They pushed you 1 inch too far, one insult too sharp, one betrayal too stupid, and suddenly the version of you they mocked, belittled, and underestimated vanished. In its place stood the version they prayed would never surface, the one that doesn't negotiate, the one that doesn't blink, the one that turns the whole room cold in seconds. And when that side finally stepped forward, they realized something devastating. They had been bullying the final boss without reading the manual. They weren't dealing with a candle they could snuff out. They were dealing with an inferno waiting for one idiot to strike the match. And they did. they always do. It's in their nature to be that sick, that clueless, that self-destructive. You didn't reveal your other half to impress them. You revealed it to free yourself, and now they have to live with the memory of what they saw. A version of you so powerful it rewired their entire understanding of who you are. A version they can't unsee. A version they'll think about every night, even if they pretend they don't. Welcome on board, chosen one. The universe didn't just give you another half. It gave you the part they feared the most. But before we dive deeper, chosen one, slow down for a second. You just revealed a side of yourself that wiped the smug smile off every enemy in a 5-mile radius. That wasn't a small moment. That was the kind of shift the universe bookmarks. So, here's your little checkpoint. If you're ready to keep going, if you're ready to explore exactly why your other half hit them harder than any truth they've ever faced, tap that like button and subscribe right now. Consider it the price of admission into this next layer of power. And drop 999 in the comments so I know you didn't flinch when their jaw dropped. It's our code now, not theirs. And now we move step by step, deeper into the aftermath of what you unleashed. Trust me, if you really are who I think you are, you'll feel the pull to stay until the final word. Because once a chosen one cracks open that hidden half, the story doesn't just continue, it transforms. Let's get started. Number 1, the truth that slapped them out of their delusions. Funny how they kept calling you harmless until the truth peeled their ego like rotten fruit and left them shaking in their own lies. The truth they weren't ready for wasn't some dramatic reveal, some staged performance, or some let me prove myself moment. No, the truth they met was the version of you they were never meant to survive, the version you built in silence, the version forged in disappointment, betrayal, and every moment you swallowed your fire so you wouldn't burn the insecure little world they tried to trap you in. What they saw wasn't a mask falling off. It was the mask finally getting bored and walking away. And now they can't unsee it. They can't unsee the intensity you hid because people kept telling you to tone it down. They can't unsee the way your perception cuts through them like they're made of cheap plastic. They can't unsee the stillness in your eyes that says you've already calculated their intentions before they even open their mouth. They can't unsee that quiet, simmering fury created by years of being underestimated by people who would crumble under 5% of what you've survived. They saw you, chosen one. Not the edited version, not the socially acceptable version, the real one, the one you've been protecting from a world that couldn't handle it. And here's the part that haunts them. You're not afraid anymore, not of their opinions, not of their rejection, not of being too much, not of outgrowing them so fast it leaves streak marks in the timeline. You stepped out of the version of yourself that was digestible and walked into the version that is undeniable. Now they're losing sleep. They replay the moment like a horror scene they can't escape. They sit there wondering how long you've been this powerful, this perceptive, this unshakable. They torture themselves with questions they're too scared to ask you. What else did I miss? How deep does this go? How long have they known the truth about me? Their brain keeps looping the moment you shifted, the moment your energy cracked their little illusion, the moment they realized they had built their confidence on the belief you would never step into your real strength. They didn't know you had two modes. They didn't know there was a whole other half living beneath your smile. They didn't know the softness they mistook for weakness was actually strategy. Yes, strategy. You weren't quiet because you were small. You were quiet because you were observing. You were calculating. You were deciding who was worthy of seeing the full version of you. Spoiler alert, it wasn't them. But life, being the petty mastermind it is, decided they needed a reality check. And so the truth came out, unplanned but perfectly timed. They saw the real weight of your presence, the real force behind your silence, the real storm behind your calm. And in that moment, they finally understood why the universe kept choosing you, why your life keeps rising from ashes they thought would bury you, why your name still echoes in rooms you've left long ago. Because your other half isn't just a side of you, it's the core, the power they never had access to, the power they misjudged, the power that exposes every little weakness they tried to hide. And here's the deliciously painful part for them. You didn't reveal this half out of anger. You didn't reveal it to get revenge. You didn't reveal it to scare them. You revealed it because you simply stopped caring about playing small. You outgrew their expectations. You outgrew the role they assigned you. You outgrew the universe they tried to shrink you into. They're not just shocked, they're embarrassed, because now they have to face the truth. They doubted someone who was always 10 levels ahead. They dismissed someone who could dismantle them with one sentence. They underestimated someone built for storms they've never even seen. They thought they were dealing with a candle. You turned out to be a whole wildfire. They thought you were safe. You were studying them the entire time. They thought you were predictable. You were evolving right under their nose. And now they're terrified of what comes next. They keep asking themselves, if that was only the reveal, what happens when this person fully steps into that other half? They feel the shift in the air around you. They feel the weight of your new momentum. They feel the power they tried to tame, breaking every invisible leash they ever tried to put on you. They lost control the moment you stopped caring about their version of you. And that right there is why they weren't ready for the truth. Because the truth wasn't just a new version of you, it was a new world where they no longer matter. A world where you're not apologizing for being intense, sharp, intuitive, powerful, or too much. A world where their opinion shrinks down to the size it always should have been, irrelevant. So when they looked at you and saw that other half rise, steady, fearless, unapologetic, that was their awakening, the brutal one, the one they'll never recover from, because they finally realized you weren't changing into someone new. You were returning to who you always were. And that, chosen one, is the truth they were never built to handle. Number 2, they built the monster that now haunts them. Funny how they kept poking the quiet one, and now they're running from the very storm they summoned. They wanted the truth until the truth walked in, wearing your face and their fear. They mistook your silence for safety. Now they know silence was the warning, not the weakness. They didn't meet your dark side. They met the side you built to survive them. They created their own nightmare, chosen one, not because you planned it, not because you wanted revenge, not because you were waiting to strike. No, they created it through their own arrogance, ignorance, and obsession with treating you like some toy they could bend, break, or belittle without consequences. They spent months, maybe years, convincing themselves you were harmless. They fed their ego the fantasy that you were the easy one, the manageable one, the quiet one, the one who wouldn't dare roar. And now they're choking on the sound of your voice, finally vibrating at full power. Imagine standing in front of a sleeping dragon, tapping it with a stick, laughing, saying, "Look, it's not even dangerous." Imagine the shock when that dragon opens one eye and the whole temperature of the room drops. That's exactly what happened. They poked, you opened your eyes, and now they're sprinting through their own smoke, wondering how they misread the situation so catastrophically. You didn't change. They did. They dug their own grave the moment they mistook your restraint for weakness. They thought your silence meant you had nothing to say. They thought your calm meant you had no fire. They thought your patience meant you had no limits. And now the universe is laughing because the poetic justice is flawless. You didn't destroy them. They destroyed themselves by waking up a version of you they were never built to face. Imagine this, a person standing at the edge of a cliff throwing stones into the wind, assuming the wind will always stay soft. Then, without warning, the wind turns into a storm and throws every stone back at them 10 times harder. That's you, chosen one. You didn't retaliate. You reflected. You returned everything they projected onto you with the weight of truth behind it, and truth hits harder than revenge ever could. You didn't reveal your other half to punish them. You revealed it because they kept demanding access to a version of you they weren't ready to handle. They kept asking who you really were. They kept pushing for reactions, pushing for answers, pushing for cracks. And when the truth finally emerged, their entire worldview collapsed like a sandcastle slapped by a tsunami. Suddenly, the person they mocked was the person who could dismantle their entire identity with one unfiltered moment. Here's what's eating them alive now. They thought they could predict you. They thought they could contain you. They thought they could measure you. But everything they measured was just the surface layer. Everything they thought was all you were was just the polite casing around the real engine underneath. They underestimated the depth, the power, the darkness, the clarity, the fire. And now they feel stupid, embarrassed, exposed, because your real energy didn't match the tiny box they built for you. And that's the moment they realized the joke wasn't on you. It was on them. Imagine this. Someone thinks they bought a small flashlight. They flick it on, expecting a little glow. Instead, it lights up the entire sky like a stadium floodlight. They freeze, they panic, they drop it. That's exactly what happened when they caught a glimpse of your other half. They weren't prepared for how bright, how sharp, how undeniable it would be. They weren't prepared for the version of you that doesn't shrink, doesn't hide, doesn't apologize for existing. And now their nightmares aren't metaphors, their nightmares are memory. They replay the moment you shifted, the moment your energy flipped, the moment their lies hit the wall of your perception and shattered, the moment they realized you saw everything they thought they hid. You didn't punish them, you simply stopped protecting them from the truth. And that's what terrifies them the most, because they know deep down the only thing that kept them even slightly powerful was your willingness to stay quiet. Now that the mute button is off, their whole script is falling apart. They keep asking themselves questions they'll never admit out loud. How long have they known? What else did they see? What else have I been wrong about? Were they always this strong? Have I been playing with someone way out of my league? They created a version of you in their head that made them feel safe. They created a story where they were the ones in control. They created a fantasy where your power didn't exist. And the moment they saw the real you, the moment your other half rose without hesitation, the fantasy died. They didn't lose control. They realized they never had it. This is the real poetic justice. You didn't break their illusion. Your truth broke their illusion. Your existence broke their illusion. Your authentic self broke their illusion. They've lived their whole lives avoiding people like you, people who see deeper, people who don't fall for manipulation, people who carry quiet fire, people forged in storms instead of comfort, People who don't chase validation because they've survived too much to dance for crumbs. They've only ever lived safely while you were shaped by fire. They've only ever fought shadows while you were wrestling demons. They've only ever pretended to be strong while you were actually becoming strong. And now that they see this difference, it's driving them insane, because now they understand why their tactics never fully worked on you, why you never truly broke when they wanted you to, why you never crumbled even when they tried pulling every string they could. You weren't playing the same game. You weren't even in the same league. You were operating from a depth they couldn't comprehend, a reality they couldn't access, a strength they could never copy. This is why their fear feels so fresh. This is why their guilt keeps clawing at them. This is why they avoid your eyes now. This is why your presence hits different, because they realize the monster they're running from is the same monster they built through their disrespect, their lies, their manipulation, their arrogance. They didn't just underestimate you, they crafted the exact conditions that activated your evolution. They thought they were humbling you, shaping you, controlling you, but in reality, they were sharpening you into the blade that now cuts through every illusion they hide behind. They created the nightmare. They summoned the storm. They awakened the side of you that doesn't flinch. They carved their own downfall into your story. They didn't just meet your other half. They met the consequence of underestimating someone who was born to rise, not stay small. And that chosen one is the part of the story they'll never forgive themselves for. Number 3. The control they never saw coming. They thought you were quiet because you were weak, not because you were calculating the safest way to let them live another day. Kindness isn't softness, it's restraint. And restraint is the scariest kind of power when it finally runs out. They never understood chosen one, not once. They thought your patience meant passivity, like you were waiting for permission to exist. They thought your silence meant ignorance, as if you weren't dissecting their every move with surgeon-level precision. They thought your kindness meant softness, because their minds are too small to grasp that kindness is sometimes the only thing keeping a monster from stretching its spine. They thought your refusal to argue was weakness, when in reality you were choosing peace because war would have left them in pieces they couldn't glue back together. Imagine this, someone staring into still water and assuming it's shallow until they fall in and realize it's a bottomless pit. That's you. Your calm wasn't emptiness, it was depth. Here's the truth they choke on now. Every time you let them win, you were actually protecting them from the outcome they weren't built to survive. Every time you stepped away, you spared them from the version of you that doesn't negotiate. Every time you held back, you were showing mercy they didn't earn. And now that they've seen even a sliver of what happens when you stop cushioning their ego, they're terrified. Because the illusion shattered, they finally realized you weren't quiet. You were choosing your battles. You weren't passive. You were strategic. You weren't harmless. You were disciplined. They see it now. You were the one regulating the temperature of every interaction. You were the one deciding how much truth they could handle. You were the one controlling the entire emotional terrain. They were never your equal. They were the ones being managed, and the part haunting them the most, you were always in control. Number 4. The moment their world cracked open. Some truths don't need volume. They walk in quietly, look you in the eye, and end your whole performance without lifting a finger. Fear isn't born from noise. It's born from the moment someone finally stops pretending. The reveal didn't explode, it didn't roar, it didn't come dressed in lightning and drama. It slipped in like a shadow that suddenly realized it didn't have to hide behind you anymore. And that's exactly why it hit them like a seismic punch to the ribcage. You didn't threaten them, you didn't warn them, you didn't have to. All it took was your unfiltered presence for their entire fake confidence to implode. Maybe it was the look you gave them, that stare that sliced straight through every lie they'd been hiding behind. Maybe it was one sentence, short, cold, surgical, that told them you finally saw them without the cheap filters they tried to hide behind. Maybe it was the way you stopped laughing at their empty attempts at being relevant, or the way your face stopped bending into polite smiles, or the moment you stopped giving your energy to people who didn't know what to do with it. Whatever triggered it, it rearranged their entire world, because this reveal wasn't about what you did. It was about what you stopped doing. You stopped cushioning their ego. You stopped shrinking your personality so they wouldn't feel threatened. You stopped acting like their shallow noise was worth your attention. You stopped softening your truth so it wouldn't bruise them. And when that buffer disappeared, so did their illusion of power. Imagine a room where the lights flicker on after years in dimness. Suddenly, every flaw, every crack, every roach scurrying in the corner becomes visible. That's what your truth did to them. It exposed them, it stripped them, it humiliated them without a single insult spoken. What's haunting them now is simple. Your real self didn't attack them, it revealed them. And that was the blow they were never built to survive. Number 5. The image they'll never scrub out of their skull. Some moments don't fade. They cling to the mind like smoke after an explosion, reminding you exactly what blew your comfort to pieces. Once someone sees your real power, they can't pretend you're small anymore. Not without lying to themselves on purpose. Now they can't unsee it, chosen one. They can't crawl back into their cozy little lie where you were manageable, predictable, safe. That moment, your other half stepped into the light, burned itself into their memory like a brand. It wasn't dramatic, but it was permanent. A psychological scar delivered in silence, and nothing terrifies insecure people more than a truth that makes them feel stupid for ever thinking they understood you. What's killing them isn't fear of you, it's the uncertainty. Because you didn't show them everything, you showed them just enough to remind them how wrong they were, just enough to shatter their fake confidence, just enough to make them realize they'd been walking through your world blindfolded. Imagine someone opening a door they shouldn't, expecting storage space, and instead seeing the edge of an abyss. They slam the door shut, but the image stays. That's exactly what you did to them. A glimpse into depth they can't explain. A glimpse into power they can't measure. A glimpse into a version of you they were never meant to encounter. They don't know how deep you go. They don't know how much you held back. They don't know where the limits are, because now they suspect you don't have any. You became unpredictable, and for people who rely on controlling others, unpredictability isn't discomfort, it's terror. They can't track you, can't anticipate you, can't box you in anymore. They're dealing with someone who sees through them, someone who evolves faster than they can react, someone who stopped shrinking just to keep the peace. And now their nightmares all have the same face. Yours, the real one. Number 6. Their consequences arrived wearing your face. You didn't lift a finger against them. Life just let your power grow, and somehow that was enough to break them. The funniest punishment is the one where you don't even try. You simply exist, and they crumble under the weight of their own guilt. Your power is their punishment. chosen one. Not because you sought revenge, not because you plotted some grand downfall. You're not even thinking about them. That's the part that humiliates them the most. You're just existing in your truth, walking in the version of yourself they swore would never appear. You're breathing, shining, unfolding, and it feels like judgment to them. You've become the mirror they can't escape, the reflection that exposes everything they tried to hide. Every silence now feels heavy to them. Every pause feels intentional. Every look feels like a verdict. Every word feels like a clue they're desperately trying to decode. They think you're playing mind games when you're literally doing nothing. You're just standing there, radiating the confidence they tried to kill in you. And somehow that's enough to send them spiraling into paranoia. Imagine someone who once thought they had power over you, suddenly realizing they're the one being watched by their own conscience. They replay conversations, they analyze old messages, they overthink every breath you take near them. They're terrified not of what you'll do, but of what you know, of what you've seen, of what you've become. They feel like something uncontrollable is now walking the earth, because it is. It's you, the unfiltered you, the version they awakened by underestimating you. You didn't punish them, your evolution did, and that's the kind of punishment they'll feel for the rest of their lives. Number 7, the truth that put them in their place. Nothing scares a shallow mind more than realizing the person they underestimated could have ended their entire illusion at any moment. The moment you revealed your depth, their ignorance became impossible to hide. The lesson they can't escape is brutally simple. Chosen one, you didn't just reveal your other half. You revealed them. You revealed the smallness of their perception, the limits of their judgment, the fragility of their ego. As long as you played the part they scripted for you, they could pretend they understood everything. They could pretend they were smart, perceptive, in control. But the second you stepped out of that role, quietly, effortlessly, you shattered the entire architecture of their confidence. Imagine someone who spent years studying a map, bragging about how well they knew the terrain. Then the ground splits open, revealing an entire underground world they never even imagined. That's what you did. You didn't surprise them, you exposed them. Their framework for understanding humans didn't just crack, it collapsed. Because they weren't dealing with a simple creature. They were dealing with a layered, evolving, unpredictable force they couldn't categorize. You became living proof that there are depths they can't measure, power they can't name, energy they can't contain, and now look at them, walking around you like they finally read the warning label, careful, hesitant, softening their tone, choosing their words like they're diffusing a bomb. They used to treat you casually, carelessly, arrogantly, because they thought you were harmless. They thought you were simple. They thought you were predictable. But now, you're the loaded weapon they've been waving around without checking if it was real. Not dangerous, but undeniably powerful. Not violent, but entirely capable. Not vengeful, but completely untouchable. The lesson they can't escape is this. They never understood you. They never measured you correctly. And the truth you revealed made sure they never make that mistake again. Number 1, the version they were never meant to survive. You didn't change. You just stopped dimming the light that exposed their shadows. The new you they fear is the old you they were never qualified to meet. Here's the part their tiny, trembling minds will never grasp. Chosen one, that other half they keep whispering about isn't some costume you put on. It's not a phase. It's not a performance. It's not some sudden mutation. It's the real you, finally walking in without apologizing for taking up space. It's you without the safety filter, without the translation, without the edits designed to keep insecure people from collapsing under the weight of your intensity. Imagine this, a lion lowering its roar so the sheep don't panic. That was you, not weak, not unsure, just considerate, just strategic, just preserving their fragile sense of importance. And when they say, "You changed," what they really mean is, "You stopped protecting me from the version of you I never deserved to see." They don't understand complexity. They don't understand depth. They don't understand what happens when someone who's been playing small suddenly steps back into their natural size. Mediocrity always fears intensity. And intensity is exactly what emerged when you finally stopped shrinking to make room for their ego. The disguise wasn't for your benefit, it was for theirs. It let them pretend you were simple, predictable, manageable. But once the mask slipped, once they caught even a fraction of your real capacity, the entire dynamic flipped. You saw their shock. You saw the fear. You saw the realization hit them like a cold slap. They were playing checkers while you were playing chess. And here's the irreversible part. You can't go back. You can't unsee their reaction. You can't pretend they didn't expose their fear the moment the real you stepped forward. The truth emerged. And now you're done pretending to be smaller than you are. Number 8. The day you broke your chains. Liberation isn't soft. It's the moment you finally stop kneeling in a room full of people who never deserved your lowered head. They didn't lose you. They lost access to the version of you that tolerated their nonsense. Welcome to your liberation, chosen one. The truth is out, the mask is gone, and the performance they depended on has officially died. You finally stepped out of the costume they mistook for your real identity, and the universe probably smirked, watching their faces crumble under the brightness of who you actually are. You know what's wild? They thought exposure would break you. Instead, it freed you. You're done shrinking, you're done filtering, you're done pretending you're manageable. The version of you that kept dimming the lights so they wouldn't panic is gone, and the second your other half stepped into the open, something inside you snapped into alignment. You didn't just reveal yourself to them, you revealed yourself to you. That's the real liberation, not their reaction, not their fear, not their confusion. It's the realization that you survived long enough to become the person you were supposed to be all along. Imagine this. A cage door swinging open, not because someone finally freed the creature inside, but because the creature realized the bars were never locked. That's you. The prison was their perception. The lock was your patience. And the key was your decision to stop pretending you needed their approval to breathe. And now look at them, squinting, stumbling, shielding their eyes like they've been dragged into daylight after living underground. They're the ones struggling to adjust to the light, not you, because you weren't the weak one. You were the one holding back. This isn't the end of your story. It's the first real chapter, the chapter where you stop apologizing for your intensity. The chapter where you stop lowering your volume for people who were never enough. The chapter where you walk through the world, unfiltered, unafraid, unshakable, and finally, fully aware of your own power. Welcome to your liberation. It was always waiting for you to claim it. Number 9. The fear that follows them like a shadow they didn't notice until it moved. Real fear isn't loud. It's the way someone stops breathing for half a second when you enter the room. They don't fear what you'll do. They fear what you already know. The fear they can't name but feel everywhere is the one you didn't even try to create. It wasn't born from threats or revenge or some dramatic confrontation. It came from a single moment, the moment your other half stepped out of hiding and the energy shifted so violently that something inside them recognized a truth their mind couldn't process. Fear isn't logical. Fear is instinct. And their instincts started screaming the second they realized the version of you they toyed with wasn't the version standing in front of them now. You walk in, and suddenly the air changes. Their shoulders stiffen, their voice drops, their eyes dart away just a little too fast. They don't know why they're doing it, but their body does. Their subconscious does. Because your presence now carries weight they can't describe. A pressure that exposes them without you saying a single word. Imagine this. A person who once bragged about being fearless suddenly avoiding shadows, not because anything happened, but because something inside them remembers the moment the dark moved on its own. That's what you became to them. A reminder of a shift they can't unfeel. They watch their every word around you now, terrified of slipping. They replay conversations, afraid you caught something they tried to hide. They keep their distance, not because you harmed them, but because your truth showed them who they really are, and that reflection is the monster they're running from. They can't name this fear, but they feel it in their bones, everywhere, because the moment you revealed your other half, their instincts finally told the truth their mind never dared to admit. Number 10. The day the game flipped and they realized they were never the player, only the piece. Power doesn't disappear, it just returns to the one who earned it. They didn't lose control, they discovered they never had it. The power shift they never saw coming didn't arrive with noise, drama, or some cinematic showdown. It arrived the moment your truth stepped forward and their illusion shattered like glass dropped from a rooftop. Everything they once relied on, your silence, your patience, your restraint, used to give them a sense of superiority. They fed off it like parasites, mistaking it for permission. But the second you revealed who you really were, the ground flipped so fast beneath them that they're still trying to regain their balance. Now the things they used to weaponize against you expose them instead. Your silence, it no longer reads as submission, it reads as calculation. Your calm, it no longer makes you look small, it makes them look unprepared. Your presence, it no longer blends in the room, it dominates it. Imagine walking into a space where everyone once talked over you, only now their voices shrink the second you appear. Imagine the people who once smirked at your patience, now choking on their own fear because they finally understand patience wasn't weakness, it was discipline. That's the shift. They feel it in the way their confidence falters when you look at them. They feel it in the way their words stumble when they realize you're no longer bending your energy to make them comfortable. They used to think they had the upper hand. Now they can barely hold eye contact. You didn't seize power. You reclaimed what was always yours. And the cruelest part for them, the moment the real you stepped forward, was the moment their entire advantage evaporated into dust. Number 11. The quiet that makes their souls tremble. Silence only scares the guilty. The innocent hear peace, the guilty hear judgment. Your quiet didn't change, their conscience did. The silence that exposes everything isn't the silence you used to carry. Back then, your quiet was strategy, measured, intentional, protective. But now your silence is a mirror, polished and merciless, reflecting people back to themselves with no filter, no softness, no excuses. The second you revealed your other half, your silence stopped being compliance and became command. It became the kind of stillness that shifts the air, the kind that makes even the boldest person swallow hard before speaking. People used to mistake your quiet for absence. Now they feel it like pressure in their chest. Imagine someone trying to hide a stain on a white shirt under dim lighting. It works until someone flicks the lights on. That's your silence now. It exposes, it reveals, it forces them to confront what they spent years hiding behind noise, arrogance, and false confidence. You don't have to call them out. You don't have to explain what you see. You don't have to argue or justify. Your silence says it all. I see you. I always saw you, and now you know I see you. They feel naked under it. They feel judged by it. They feel revealed by it. And the best part, you're not even trying to intimidate them. You're just existing without cushioning their insecurities. Your silence is no longer passive, it's authority. It's the throne you sit on without needing to announce your power. It's the moment they realize you were never the one being evaluated. They were. And without your softness to protect them from themselves, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Number 12. The future they threw away the second your real self stood up. They didn't lose you. They lost the privilege of thinking they could shape your destiny. The moment you awakened, every plan they built on your silence died screaming. The future they lost the moment you awakened wasn't some distant dream. It was the one they built on the assumption that you'd always stay small, predictable, easy to steer. Their entire strategy depended on the version of you that dimmed your own fire just to keep the peace. The version that tolerated, forgave, overlooked, and adjusted. But that version is gone, and with it, every ounce of power they thought they had. Your awakening didn't just shift the dynamic, it erased their entire roadmap. All the manipulation, useless now. All the guilt tricks, dead in the water. All the silent expectations turned to dust the moment your other half, your real half, stepped forward. Imagine someone building a house on sand, certain the tide will never rise. Then one day, the ocean wakes up. That's you. Your evolution didn't destroy their plans. It revealed how flimsy and delusional those plans always were. They weren't in control. They were gambling with illusions. Now the future they thought they had with you doesn't exist. The predictable role you were supposed to play, erased. The compliance they depended on, gone. The emotional leverage they clung to, slipped right out of their hands. They don't just fear what you are now, they fear what you're becoming next. They know you're evolving faster than they can adjust. They know nothing they do will ever work the way it used to. They know the old world is gone, and the new one doesn't include their advantage. Your evolution didn't ruin their future. It clarified it, and the clearest truth of all, there is no future where they get to control someone who finally woke up. Number 13. The day the world realized you were the new gravity. You stopped orbiting around people, and suddenly they're the ones stumbling, trying to keep their balance around your pull. When a force like you awakens, the world doesn't stay the same. It shifts, trembles, and rearranges itself in self-defense. The world must now adapt to you, chosen one. Your awakening wasn't some cute personality upgrade. It was a tectonic shift, a rewrite of every rule that once dictated how you were supposed to move, speak, behave, shrink, or stay silent.